Things you should know before traveling to Ethiopia. So there's a bunch of things: cultural, food, currency, and cost of things. Ethiopia requires visa. Dress modest. Try to not to show too much. One more thing as a bonus that I'll add is that people might feed you. Number one, health and safety. One of the things I recommend to work with a travel agency, a tour company, or somebody that you know in Ethiopia that can give you a little bit of guidance to where to go, when to go, how to get there. But in case you're coming by yourself, one of the things you want to make sure is health-wise, get your vaccines, all the vaccines, yellow fever cards, all that kind of vaccines that you need, and malaria. Depending on where you're gonna be, there's some areas if you're going up north and stuff like that that you don't need, but it's generally recommended that you take malaria. If you have high altitude issues, make sure you check that out, because even Addis is pretty high and a lot of places that you go are high up. Always drink bottled water. Food-wise and stuff like that, you can eat most of the food, and a lot of it is going to be vegetarian, but don't eat salad as maybe outside of the main big hotels like the Sheraton and the Radisson Blu and stuff like that. But you can eat any food that you peel. When traveling, people in Ethiopia are generally very nice and safe, but it's usually recommended to have somebody that's guiding you around that can tell you explanation, just so that there's no misunderstanding. And a lot of it will do a little bit maybe with, people thinking just because you're American or a foreigner that you have a lot of money so you can pay for everything and stuff like that. So it could be some misunderstanding. So just to avoid that, if you have an Ethiopian or a guide with you that will tell you what to do beforehand, how to do it, you'll have a great time. Number two, cultural etiquette. First thing would be the handshaking, right hand. That's kind of universal, I think, in a lot of places. When you're eating also, if you're eating in a traditional Ethiopian setting with everybody in a big circle, try to use your right hand. That's a big one. One more thing as a bonus that I'll add is that people might feed you. So in Ethiopia, when we eat together, and people feed each other, showing culturally affection. So especially for husband and wife or friends and stuff like that, they feed each other first before they start eating. So if you're a guest to somebody, people might feed you. Literally set it up and give you a bite. So that's called gursha, which is a beautiful cultural thing. So don't take that as offensive. That's a beautiful gesture of friendship. We drink a lot of coffee. Ethiopia actually drinks more coffee than it exports. Nothing like any other country. So if you go to people's houses or for anything, coffee is gonna be one of the things that people offer you. If you go to somebody's house for a meal, you'll have 3 cups of coffee. If you don't drink coffee or don't do that, give them a good reason to not have, otherwise it's kind of seen as an insult, as coffee is one of our main cultural things to have coffee. Dressing, so dress modest. Try to not to show too much, especially for female. Guys can wear shorts, but not too short also. That could also be a problem. Just respectful wherever you are, and especially if you're going into churches for girls, covering up the body and the hair is a very important thing in Ethiopia, even if you're going to mosque. So, try to be respectful and dress modest. Number 3, language and communication. In Ethiopia, we speak, a little bit of English. People in Addis really speak English, don't have a problem, but our main language is Amharic. Learning some words like amasagenalo, which means thank you, eshi, salam. Learn a few phrases, some words. It doesn't have to be anything useful really. Just know some words and say, hey, I know this word. And people get very excited, and people will actually become a little bit more friendly towards you. Number 4, transportation and logistics. Obviously, we have all forms of transportation, and if you're coming with a tour company, obviously that would be all taken care of, from the flights, from the buses, all scheduled and all set up, so you're all good. If you're traveling by yourself, maybe if you're in Addis for 2-3 days on your own and you want to experience, so there's a few different types of transportation that way. The buses, which I don't recommend that you take, unless if you want to take, and I don't even know where the buses go and where they start, so I don't take the buses, and maybe not for you. But taxis are a very good way, other form of public transportation. So the taxis go in a certain route and they'll call out where they're going. So if you just want to hop on for one route, they call out where they're going. So if you even if you're in a particular location and you want to go somewhere else, you can just walk over to somebody and say, how do I get a taxi to this place? And they'll tell you where their stations are, where they stop, so you can just hop on one. When I said taxi, I mean there's minivans that are stationed that go in particular direction. They're usually blue and white. The other one, the main one that I would recommend that you use would be like an Uber, a ride. So that you can call on your app, and they also have like a sticker on the cars, just like an Uber, that you can call on the app or stop somebody and tell them where you want to go and put it in the app, and they'll do that. For number 5, currency and cost of things. Ethiopia, we use birr. It's a very good idea to have some birr with you. So when you land at the airport, there's a bank and there's ATMs that you can take out money, have some cash with you. And expense-wise, it's really depends on where you go. Coffee could be from 10 cents for you guys to, $2, $3, $4, and on. It just depends on where you are. When you come, I'd recommend you bringing some cash so you can change it at the bank, and that would be an easy way because credit cards may not work everywhere, ATM cards may not work everywhere. So having some cash, and while you can, using the ATM cards. Number 6 is climate and packing. Yes, we have all sorts of, from the hottest places to the mountains in Ethiopia where it's very chilly. The recommendation really is to have light stuff that you can wear during the day, and then at night, even in Addis or everywhere, it might get chilly, so to have a sweater and stuff like that. And depending on when you come in, if you come in during the rainy season, it rains a lot, so have some raincoats and stuff like that. Just check out your schedule. For number 7, visa requirements. Ethiopia requires visa. Visa you can apply for online. I really recommend that. Sometimes they could be pretty mean about it at the airport once you get here when you're asking for a visa, and sometimes they're pretty nice about it and they'll give you a visa. It just really depends on what's happening there. But in order to avoid that, just get your visa, e-visa online, and everything is smooth. Number 8 is food and dining. It really depends on how you travel and stuff like that, because we have Western food, and anywhere you travel really you'd have Western food and also traditional Ethiopian food. So this is going to be a portion for people that are interested in eating Ethiopian food. So if you eat meat, you're in luck because we have a lot of meat dishes, and almost everywhere that is a good way to go. But also if you're vegan or a vegetarian, one of the things you can ask for is fasting food. So here is a cultural thing. When Ethiopia, when we say fasting, it really means you're vegan. The term is taken for a period of time where you actually fast until like 5 p.m., 3 p.m. and stuff like that. Once you're done with your fast, you're not allowed to eat meat or dairy. Anytime you don't want to eat any meat, you say fasting food, and they'll make it without any dairy or meat. And our injera is one of the things that people are very excited about because it's gluten-free. So it's kind of our bread. It might be a little bit sour, but it's gluten-free, so that's a really good one. On top of that, just check out if you want spicy or not. So ask for it to be not spicy or ask the non-spicy version. So there's usually all the dishes we make, obviously we'll have a non-spicy version also. So you can ask for that. Or if you like spicy, ask them to make it more spicy, or ask them to give you some mitmita, which is our powder that we put on top of cooked food as additional spice. Number 9 is respect for culture and tradition and religion in Ethiopia. The more respectful you seem, like if you're going to a church and you put on that we have what we call a netala, which is like a white cloth that you put on top. It's a scarf. It's very nice. The more you do that, people are way more nicer to you. And also, if you follow the rules of not chewing gum in the church, and also you have to take off your shoes, obviously. And also men and women going to different entrances. So just being generally a nice person, respectful, even if it's not your religion or anything, really goes a long way. So that's one thing. Number 10 is photography and asking permissions. Obviously you're allowed to take pictures and stuff, but when you're taking pictures of people, just be nice and ask first. Like in the shop, kind of take a picture, and instead of, when you're taking a general picture of what the market looks like, that's okay, obviously. But if you're taking a picture of one lady sitting there doing her thing, be nice and ask first. And a lot of places they'll say yes. If you're too scared to ask, have your guide or somebody showing you around, just ask them very nicely. And people are generally very nice, so it's not a problem, but just it's nice to ask. Festivals and holidays in Ethiopia. Ethiopia has a lot of amazing holidays. In fact, a lot of our holidays, about 3 or 4 of them, are now a UNESCO intangible heritage events. Plan your trip around that. It's slightly more expensive around holidays, obviously, but you get a great experience. I would try to look for holiday times, and we will try to add the times on our website. Or if you go to dejaneethiopiatours.com, we have a whole consulting thing with that to help you guide you through when to come to Ethiopia and how to come to Ethiopia. So check out our consulting. Electricity and adapters, that's a good one. Electricity sometimes goes out. It's not going out as much. We have rolling blackouts, I guess that's what you say. Not doing that as much nowadays, but it is a problem. So bring adapters, power banks. That's a good one. Our electricity is 220 volts, so make sure you have adapters to be able to convert to that. C, E, and F plugs, so have those plugs in there also, and you're all good. Internet and connectivity, like I said, we have internet, not the best, but we do have internet, that's good. But when you get into Ethiopia, especially if you're in Ethiopia for a long time, go to Ethio Telecom and get a SIM card. And then one of the things you can do is get unlimited data on there for a week or a month. Let's say $5, you can get unlimited internet and unlimited calling and texting. A great way to do that, and we will put instructions on how to do that below, but get the SIM card. Tipping is recommended in most places. Even hotels have, even though they have service charge on it, tipping on top is great. Hotels and stuff, anytime people do something nice for you, especially, the hotels, taxis and stuff, tipping a little bit on top of it. Your drivers, especially if you're doing with a tour company, at the end of your tour, tipping your drivers or guides is a great way, because they'll get paid for their service, but usually not enough. So it's great to tip them at the end of the day, and tipping is generally recommended, and it's a good way to get in tune with people and for them to like you. I recommend that you go check out Dejane Ethiopia Tours/consulting, and we have a free PDF that you can take a look at for these kind of recommendations. And if you have a really interest in coming to Ethiopia for a good amount of time, our consulting package is great, because we will not only tell you and show you what is good based on what you like, we will also book all of that for you, so try to save you money. And whatever you pay for the consulting will be deducted, because if you book with us, obviously, we're not going to charge you for the consulting fee, so that would be deducted, and you'll have a great time in Ethiopia.